Hello everybody and welcome to this PvT guide. Today I'm going to be showing you how to play Phoenix into charge against Terran. This is a build order that you can use at every level. This replay has been played against Baby Marine. This is pretty high GM level. So you can play this replay at pretty much every level, right? Whether you're Platinum, Diamond, doesn't matter. It is pretty straightforward, doesn't require intense micro aside from some Phoenix control. So I'm going to be showing you how to do this right now. So first of all, pylon at 14 supply, nothing out of the extraordinary. If you're familiar with the standard openings, you should know about that. Gateway 16. The moment your pylon finishes, you're supposed to chrono boost your Nexus right away. You want to boost our economy as rapidly as possible, so make sure you chrono boost your Nexus. 17 we get gas, nothing special. And then you have 16 probes on the minerals. And after that, we can finally begin to scout. Some people like to scout after the gateway. I like to personally scout after having 16 on the minerals so I can get a bit more income. So the probe goes straight to the opponent's base. You can also scout this area a little bit on certain maps, but it doesn't really matter. So you put 2 probes, or you can put even 3 probes right away if you're lower league and you tend to forget. No big deal, it's a little bit of an optimization, but it doesn't really matter. So at 20 supply we get our Nexus, and then we're going to get our core at also 20 supply. But in the meantime, I'm going to put myself in my own view. There you go, I make the core at 20 supply, and I'm just scouting. So you can see here, our Terran friend is playing double gas, so this will require a specific response. The other game will be a 1 racks into expand, a more standard strategy. Double gas or 1 racks expand are the 2 most popular builds as Terran, so I'm going to show you both responses. 21 gas and 22 pylon. Make sure you get the pylon in the natural. You place it in a way that you can wall over there if you need to, and you can place a battery over there. A battery placed here means you can protect the units that are going to be at the front, but you will also protect the probe. So this pylon placement is actually not random at all. You really need to put the pylon in that way. The moment your cybernetics core finishes, you start the adept and chrono boost it. Then you get your Stargate, and then finally you get Warp Gate. You do not start Warp Gate before the Stargate. You really want to get the Stargate as early as possible. As you can see, I'm never cutting probes, always making probes non-stop. And the moment your Nexus in a natural finishes, you chrono boost it. You only chrono boost this Nexus once. The reason why we're banking the energy here is because we want Phoenixes faster. Why do we want Phoenixes faster? Because our opponent played double gas. Double gas means they get faster factory, as you can see, and faster starport. Therefore, we need to have our Phoenix faster in order to defend. That's why we're banking more chrono boost and spending them on the Stargate. Then, at around 250, I'm sorry, I'm having a struggle a little bit to keep up, you get your shield battery. 250 is a good timing, so you can deal with all the Reapers and Hellions shenanigans. And as you can see, this battery placement protects my probes, right? If something comes in my probe line, I can just pull the probes towards the battery and they will be healed. And I will have access, if I put my units here to defend whatever, the battery is going to be in range as well. So this is a very nice position on the battery. If you feel scared, you can also add an extra battery in your mirror line in your main, but you don't need to, right? Only if you feel really threatened. So the gateway will produce 3 adepts in total. You will only chrono boost the first one. And the moment your first Phoenixes is ready, you need to beeline towards the Terran base to scout with it, right? It's really important to know what's going on if you want to react properly. So here, what do I see? This is great information. I see a Wood Mine aiming at my Phoenix, so that means there's no medevac going my way with mines inside it. Why? Because, well, the mine is here. Then, this tech lab means either Cyclones or tank. The response for both is the same, it's more Phoenix. And here, Vikings or medevacs, well, I need more Phoenix for both, and I will get 2 extra gates. So right now, I'm just worried that I can potentially get all in by Cyclones, Vikings, and stuff like that. So I'm gonna, take care about that. So 2 more gateways, whenever you can afford it, around 350, and then you get your Twilight Council also when you can afford it. Just make sure you never cut the Phoenix, right? It is crucial you get the first 4 Phoenix as early as possible, because it's a bit like a magic number. It's gonna help you deal with all kind of drops and stuff like that. And then whenever you have all the infrastructure you need, 4 phoenixes, 3 gateways, your Twilight Council, with the extra money you've got, you can finally get a 3rd base. And you always put a pylon over there. This pylon gives you quick warp in and of course the potential battery to help defend. So I only get 1 extra geyser. There are even strategies in which you can only stay on 2, but I like to take a 3rd one. So the moment your Twilight Council finishes, you get of course charge. That's really much the reason why we're making this building to begin with. And now we want to go on the map to explore a little bit, because we need to know what to do. Are we going to be making more zealots, or are we going to take further? You kind of want to make the lowest amount of Phoenix possible, zealots possible, I'm sorry. Because every time you warp in a zealot, you delay your extra infrastructure, right? So you only make zealots if you need to. And this is why we're trying to look for with the Phoenix here. Am I going to be attacked soon, or am I safe? So here, I'm going to put myself in my view. And what do I see? I see 2 Cyclones and 2 Vikings, and immediately I make 3 zealots. Because with 2 Cyclones and 2 Vikings on the map, the potentiality of being attacked is actually very real. And I'm chrono boosting charge, as you can see. But now I'm gonna, double scout and just verify. So what does it mean? Right now I see this. What does it mean? This is probably Stim Pack and Combat Shield, right? So my opponent is probably gonna wait for these upgrades to finish to attack me. On top of that, you get this starport making a reactor, so it's gonna wait for 2 medevacs most likely. So now I have plenty of time. Do I need units right now? No, I don't, because my opponent's gonna wait for 2 medevacs and for these upgrades to finish. So I do not need units right now. The big mistake would be to warp in zealots right now. It would be a big mistake, because if you spend money into zealots, you will delay your building. So you see, I'm not making any more zealots aside from 3 I made earlier, and I'm going straight into extra gateways. Because if you keep making zealots non-stop and you delay your infrastructure, what happens? Then the Terran pushes in a few minutes from now, and then you don't have enough gateways and you die to the attack because you don't have the potential to warp in a lot of units. And finally, after you've added all the gateways, I'm going all the way to 9 in this scenario, finally you can restart making units. So 2 zealots and 1 sentry. Why a sentry? Because we want Guardian Shield. It's a fucking massive deal. +2 armor on every single one of your units is actually a massive deal. Remember, Marines shoot very rapidly but low damage. So if you can reduce that damage output by 2, you significantly reduce the DPS of the Terran army. Once you've got all of that, you finally get a forge. And what I like to do, sorry I kind of missed it, you hide a pylon on the map. We're going to make a gateway here. You can put it on this side or that side. I decided to put it here, but it's a bit of a map dependent thing, but put it close enough to the Terran base so you can actually counterattack, but far away so it's hard to spot, right? And this will aid us to actually counterattack. As you can see, I keep on making Phoenix, right? I'm 6 right now. This is a 7th joining the fray. And now I really want to delay this push as much as possible and put my Phoenix in between his army and his base. Why? Because by doing this, I'm able to cut the reinforcements. Right now, he wants his army to get bigger, but he cannot, because if he brings something, I will lift it. Here I can see I'm getting absolutely debated, but actually it's not that big of a deal. I kill a mine, I'm losing a fix, it's alright. Because now the Terran had to walk all the way back home, and I'm on 3 bases. I'm mining way more, so I don't care at all. Actually, it's a good thing for me. So the more time I'm buying, the better it is for me. And as you can see, I'm adding slowly High Templars and so on. You can go into Storm if you like it. I think with today's Storm it's a bit more difficult because the Zealots tend to walk in your own storms. It's not exactly ideal. And my opponent is on 2 bases anyway. I mean, no big deal. You can go Storm, you can go Archons. I think it depends on your level and the way you feel about it. I think playing Archons is a bit easier to manage. So all your chrono boost now should go on either your Stargate if you're making more Phoenix, and your Forge to get the armor upgrades. Remember, you do not get attack upgrades here, you get armor upgrades. Really benefits this out a crap ton. So now, that's the twist. My opponent is moving on the map. This is when the counterattack happens. Now I'm warping in 6 Zealots. It doesn't really matter, like 5, 6, 7, doesn't matter. Just a round of Zealots and go straight towards the Terran base. Make sure you do not F2. Try to hotkey your stuff properly so you do not F2, because if you F2 these guys back home, I mean, the whole purpose of this run by is actually destroyed. So yeah, you don't want to attack into it, you know. Take your time. You do not have to engage into it, especially if he's got mines. Let the run by do the work. Let the run by deal damage and buy time for you. I'm just poking and prodding. I'm not trying to engage into the Terran at all. I'm just trying to buy as much time as possible. You know, I just bought myself 10 seconds. That's 6 more Zealots. You only engage once you know you absolutely can destroy the Terran army. Don't take a stupid risk. Remember, you've got warp-ins. So every time you're able to buy 20 seconds for yourself, you get more warp-ins, more units. But his army remains the same size. So buy as much time as you can. See, I'm seeing the Widowmine lines. I'm just pulling away, no need to fight. I've got the Zealots doing all the work on the other side of the map. Time is my friend right now. I will only engage when I know I can actually obliterate the Terran army. So he's sniping my robo, nothing too dramatic. And now I decide that my army is way better than his and 20 supply up. So I'm going for it. And I'm going to chase down this Terran army, right? So Zealots are a bit expandable, so you kind of want to trade as much as possible with them, especially when you want more. Try to go all the way and trade with them, because if you end up on 200 supply with only Zealots, it's not ideal. I didn't really show it, but I was going for Robo Bay in the meantime. Right, I'm making a Robo Bay and then going into attack upgrades as a follow-up. Because Colossus, I think, are pretty good in this patch. I mean, they pair up a little bit better than Storm, because once again, if you go Storm, sometimes Zealots will walk into their own Storms, especially for lower leagues. And well, here I decide to just take my time, but that's pretty much it for the replay, right? So that's how you do it. Alright, second scenario in which the strategy is going to be pretty nice is against 1 Rax Expand. So in the previous game we saw double gas, right? Which allows Terran to go for a quicker factory and starport. In this game, on the other hand, my opponent will go for 1 Rax Expand on a single gas. So those two strategies are the most popular ones you'll face on the ladder, at least when Terrans play standard. So I'm gonna show you how it's done in this scenario. So when Terrans play double gas, you want to get a battery at 250. And you want to only chrono boost your natural nexus once, so you have more energy available to chrono boost your Phoenix. Remember, we want 4 Phoenixes as early as possible to be able to deal with all the shenanigans the Terrans can throw at you, whether it's Hellions, Widowmine drops, Cyclones, you name it. When they play 1 Rax Expand, you have more freedom. You can chrono boost your probes more, play greedier, right? So don't hesitate and adapt your opponent as much as you can. So it's the same opener, right? On this base, on this map rather, I decide to wall like this. You can wall with a gate and a core, 20 nexus, and then 20 core, as you do. So as you can see, my scouting pro, what did it see? Well, I didn't go deep because sometimes you get blocked, right? And I don't want to get blocked. But here I see the command center thrown down at 142, so I know this is a 1 Rax Expand. So either Reaper or Marine, doesn't matter, but I know it's a single gas for sure, you know. That's a good tip to know. When they go double gas, there's no way they have a CC like this, right? Because they're spending their money into a factory and starport. But if you see a CC this early, you know it's a 1 Rax Expand for sure. No need to worry about anything. Once again, the pylon placement. So I can make a battery to protect my mirror line, and I can wall with extra buildings if I need to. Once again, the core finishes, we chrono boost our adept, then we go Stargate, and finally we go Warp Gate. So the perks of going Nexus before core is that you have more money, you get your earlier Nexus, you get the earlier Stargate as well, paradoxically. The disadvantage is that this son of a bitch over there is a bit more annoying, right? So if you're really annoyed by Reaper, you can play the exact same strategy, except you go core before Nexus, so you can deal with the Reaper in a more easy manner, so to speak. You know, this guy is very annoying, but you get used to it at some point, you know, when you're Clem's countrymate, you know, you get used to being bullied by Reapers, and he's gonna lose it anyway. So I chrono boosted both Nexus this time around, right? Why? Because I don't need to get my Phoenixes that early. This guy's playing one rack expand. All I need is more probes. We want to get richer. We don't really need to get the Phoenixes that early. And then the extra chrono boost, then you can spend them on here. But make sure you boost the economy really hard at first. But our purpose with the first Phoenix is always the same. Make sure I see what is going on the other side of the map. The reason I'm moving out with the Adepts is because I killed the Reaper, so I know I have a little bit of freedom. But you don't have to do this. You can just stay home, you know, no big deal. So now our Phoenix is trying to know what's going on. We really want to know what is going on. Actually, this is a bit of a mistake by me, because as you can see, the command center is over there. This is the third CC. And I should have poked in this area, but I failed to do so, which is a little bit of a mistake. But, you know, it will not really change much in a grand scheme of things. Once again, at 350, you get 2 extra gateways for a total of 3. I mean, 2 extra gateways for a total of 3. Then your Twilight Council. And right around like 420, 425, 30, depends on the map and your level, you finally get your third Nexus. So I saw a Cyclone. I saw racks being made, so there's a very good chance this guy is trying to just play a standard build and not try to harass me too early in the game. Remember, we don't want to make too many Zealots in the early game. We only want to make them if we need to. Every time you're warping a Zealot, you delay your infrastructure, which is gonna make defending later attacks more difficult. So you only make Zealots if you really have to. And how to know whether you need to make Phoenix... can't speak today. How do you know whether you should actually make more Zealots or not? Well, you scout with your Phoenix. They will give you a lot of intel. A little trick you can do, you know, when their gas is exposed like this, don't hesitate to actually lift the SCVs to get some kills. You know, the better you are at this build, the more you're gonna be able to be active with the Phoenix, get damage done and see what is going on, right? I see 2 Cyclones over there, so there's a way there's a world in which he decides to attack me. I want to be careful about that, right? I don't want to be too extreme, but right now I know my opponent is not being overly aggressive, which is why I get an earlier Forge, by the way. When you feel comfortable, play as greedy as you can, you know. Don't be shy, don't be scared, play as greedy as you can. You know, I'm diving a little bit deep here. You can see double eBay being made, so I know this guy is playing a macro game, no need to worry about anything, you know. That's a tell, you know. Sometimes people forget to click on the buildings when they scout, but see here, I see double eBay being made, so I know this guy is probably playing a standard macro game, no need to worry about anything. So I'm adding extra gateways over there, as always, all the way to 9. The 10th gateway will be the one that we will hide on the maps. So 9 at home and 1 on the map. And once my mineral line is at, I don't know, 8 or 9 probes, finally my probe is gonna go on the map to hide a proxy pylon. So depending on how you like to play, you can cut Phoenixes at like 5, 6 or, you know, but I like personally to keep on making them at least until 6 bare minimum, sometimes 7 or 8, but you really need at least 6, I would say, because if you only have 4, then 1 or 2 get killed, then basically you're just on Zealots, and then the Zealots will get bullied and you have no way to lift the Widow Mines. So get at least 6, but for lower levels, I would say keep on making them non-stop, right? It will help you improve your macro, and you will get more comfortable with the Phoenixes as well in the long run. So right now I know my opponent is on 3 bases, so I can take more gases, you know. Grab more gas, 2 more gases, and allow yourself to go into more Archons, you know, Robo facility as well. We need an observer to be able to lift the Widow Mines if they're already planted, and we need a transition out of just Zealots, right, because these are expendable units, so we want to go into Colossus as well. Once again, +1 armor as always, and then we have a proxy gate on the map. So this will help us to counterattack, as I said in the previous game. I'm gonna speed up the process a little bit, right? But keep macroing up. If you have free APM, just try to kill some SCVs, you know? Just make sure you don't miss a beat regarding the warpings. Always get 1 single sentry for Guardian Shield, really important. Then the extra gas can go into upgrades, a Robo Bay, Archons, you name it. Get 1 more base whenever you have all the infrastructure done. By infrastructure, I mean your forge, your 10 gateways, and your 3rd base fully saturated. Then finally you can get a Nexus. So what do we see with the Phoenix? Remember, we always want the birds to be in between the army and his base to pick off reinforcements. In this case, I see a lot of SCVs. I see this is an SCV pool. How do I react to an SCV pool? Cancel my Nexus, make cannons, make batteries, warp in extra sentries because we have a ramp. Always use the ramp. You don't have to force a fight into the guy. Delay the attack as much as possible. Every time you delay the attack by 20 seconds, you get one more warp in of 10 zealots. And even if I know the SCVs are coming my way, I'm still sending a small run by to deal damage because these guys will cut their reinforcements, kill the marines that try to cross the map and make the all-in weaker. So the best defense is often, sometimes, as you all know. Make sure you use the recharge ability on your Nexus to actually recharge a sentry to get more force fields, you know. If you do it right, you should be just fine against this kind of strategy. So here I will pick off one mine and just triple force field, you know, buy as much time as possible. I would love to go into Colossus, but I feel like I'm super pressured, so I just make whatever I can build, and Disruptors build faster than Colossus. And well, if he tries to walk up a choke, you know, if I can throw a big ball in there, it would be quite convenient. So here, a mistake by me is that my observer is not too far forward, you know, it's chilling at home for whatever reason, and thus I will miss completely the fact that he's walking up my ramp. If I'm doing it right, the observer is over there, I can see the move out, and just like you know, I can go left, right, left the way I want, and there's no way I can walk up the ramp. So it's a big mistake by me, but even then, even if you fuck up big time like I did, you can still get away with it. Use the Phoenix to lift the Marines. Don't leave the Marauders. Marauders don't deal damage. You don't care about them. Lift the Marines. They die faster and they deal more damage. So lift the Marines. Always use Guardian Shield, you know, to have as much armor as possible. You can think I'm dying here, but I'm just more than fine. You know, I have my Zealot dealing tremendous damage on the other side of the map. I'm perfectly fine. All the static defenses that I had in here will help me actually survive. And remember, if you have +1 armor and Guardian Shield, Zealots are actually pretty tanky. So we're gonna watch the rest of the game. Yeah, I'm gonna hold this. Some of you could be a little bit surprised, but this guy is like completely all in, right? He even lost his command center. I can't believe it. Your buildings can fly, bro. And always use your Phoenix to lift the mines. I mean, here I'm running out of the Phoenixes, but yeah. So that's pretty much it, right? I'm still gonna be able to defend despite completely missing him walking up the ramp, but you know, you can still defend SCV pools with this kind of style. This style is super versatile. You can play in every single scenario you can. So I hope you like it. If you liked it, make sure you join my Discord in the description, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.